it's Alexis from Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, what are the mindset shifts required of a project manager to be a successful Scrum Master? So don't let this question fool you. This is not meant to imply that all project managers are now going to become Scrum Masters. But instead, this is to acknowledge the reality that there are some organizations that are moving away from the traditional waterfall way of approaching projects and instead moving towards an agile mindset. And so as a part of that agile transformation, many organizations choose to go with the Scrum framework. And so within that framework, we see the role of the Scrum Master. And oftentimes organizations will have their project managers move into being Scrum Masters. But let's also clarify here that these are two distinct roles. I have a video dedicated to explaining the differences between the two, and I'll have that linked below. So definitely check that out if you want more information about that. But what I will say about that here is that because these roles are different, there are going to be some mindset shifts that are required of the project manager to successfully transition into being a Scrum Master. Probably the most notable mindset shift that will be required of project managers is that of their leadership styles. Project managers in the traditional waterfall way of doing things are traditionally command and control. This person is responsible for the success of the project. And so there's a lot of pressure. And of course, that thinking is going to lead to this more command and control way of doing things. However, that changes when you move into the role of being a Scrum Master. Being a Scrum Master means embracing the servant leadership mindset. It's completely different than command and control. I have another video discussing what it means to be a servant leader. I have another video discussing what it means to be a servant leader, and I will have that linked below as well. But in its essence, this is going to require project managers to relinquish a lot of that control that they had before, to break down those thought processes that maybe help them to be very successful project managers, and instead trust in the process, trust in the Scrum process, where now we see the responsibilities of the project manager being distributed out to the team. And so it definitely requires a mindset shift. I would caution to project managers to take your time with this, because it's not something that you will be able to do overnight, and it's something that organizations will also have to adapt to. They're typically used to having to go or being able to go to one person to understand the status of a project. That is going to shift when it comes to working within the Agile Scrum world. Another mindset shift, and I may have said this and implied it, but just to make it more explicit, is that you as the project manager are no longer solely responsible or accountable for the project's success. Instead, because the responsibilities are distributed out to the team, that responsibility is shared amongst the team. And so the product owner focuses on the what the team is actually building, the features that they're building, and the team focuses on how they determine to get there. And so whereas in a traditional sense as a project manager, you might have a lot more insight into those things, you as a Scrum Master are instead facilitating those conversations. Another shift is going to be in your focus from the project to the team's success. So it is your responsibility as a Scrum Master to coach the team to their fullest potential. That is a completely different mindset than having a successful project, right? And again, it goes back to that kind of command and control way of doing things, because the thought process here is if I'm the project manager, I have to do whatever it takes to get this project to be successful. That instead shifts to, I have to do whatever it takes for my team to be successful. And even with that thinking, I do want to clarify that this does not mean you now get to go ahead and control the team. What it means instead is, again, that servant leadership, so influencing the team, providing them data, providing them reports and metrics that show them what the issues are, and then coaching them and giving advice and recommendations on the things that they can try out doing to change their process. So again, another mindset shift that's going to be critical to being a successful Scrum Master. Finally, the last thing I'll note for you project managers who are watching this video, you still will have the opportunity to talk to your team about project management best practices. So as a Scrum Master, we talk a lot about Scrum best practices, but a lot of that does overlap with project management. A good example is scope creep. If we're working within sprints, if we're working within Scrum, then we're working within sprints also known as iterations. Scope creep is something that I have seen happen across all of my teams. And that is something that is typically characteristic or known as being a characteristic of project management. So you still will have an opportunity to talk about project management. It's just the way that you go about the conversation will be a little bit different, because now that responsibility is being shared amongst the team versus being solely your responsibility. This is a video answering the question, what are the mindset shifts required of a project manager to be a successful Scrum Master? If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and leave any questions below in the comments, and I will talk to you all in my next video.